If you're in the mood for real food, it's Concord Food Co-op.
It's about that time. What's happening, Nazzy from the Pulse of New Hampshire? Welcome to the Concord Co-op Community Connections. Joining me as always, the always bright and smiling and ready to go, Miss Kim Brandis. How are you today, Kim?
I'm good. How are you, Nazzy?
I am wonderful, near perfect, as a good friend of mine says. We've got a familiar face joining us today. Why don't you introduce our guest?
Sure. We have Carrie James. She is a co-founder of local CBD company Clearly Balanced Days, and you can find them on their website at clearlybalanceddays.com or on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back, Carrie.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me back. I really enjoy joining you guys on the show, and we always have such great conversations. I always look forward to it.
Well, we do, and you've got such great products. The last time I enjoyed learning how much care and focus goes into each one of your products. I think that's a great thing. Before we get into our discussion, tell us a little bit about what you have at Clearly Balanced Days.
So at Clearly Balanced Days, what we do are CBD products for wellness, skincare, and pets. And what we focus on is clean, simple, natural products. CBD has a lot of power on its own, and it doesn't need a lot of help. It just needs a good, simple vehicle, and it can make really great changes in our lives.
So true. Now, for people who think, okay, CBD, I don't want to get stoned, I don't want to get high before I go to work, I know the difference, but if you could please enlighten those that maybe don't carry.
Sure. I'm always happy to tell people what the difference is because there is a lot of confusion out there. So we want to make sure that people are really understanding what they're using and are able to trust what they're getting. So what we do is broad spectrum CBD. So CBD comes from the hemp plant. And the hemp plant is a cousin to the cannabis plant that you'd see with medical marijuana and things like that. So its cousin has a lot less THC. That's the psychoactive or high component of that cannabis plant. And it's qualified to be industrial hemp if it has less than 0.3% of that THC.
Okay.
Now, that's a really negligible amount, but some of us are more sensitive than others, and we just don't want people to worry. So we take that little bit out just so people know exactly that they're getting all the rest of the great parts of the plant. You want it as whole as possible, but then we're kind of balancing between that and having no THC.
Right.
So people understand that they won't get high. They aren't going to fail a drug test because of our products. And we test every single product that we make with a third-party lab so they know they can trust it, which is very important.
That's important that it's a third-party lab. It's not you guys putting out the results because obviously you could make the results anything you wanted. And the other thing that I want to make sure people know is not all CBD is the same. Because I have definitely tried some of the gummies and I've tried some of the topicals, and different companies work for me and some don't work for me. So they're not all created equal. And I know you guys are very selective as to the products that you use in your products.
Right. Not only are we selective about the different ingredients that we're combining with the CBD, but the CBD itself, you have three different choices in the CBD world. You have one part of the spectrum, which is full spectrum. It's got everything in it, including that little bit of THC. The opposite end of the spectrum is what we call isolate. It's just that one compound. So that one compound, it can be effective, but you need much higher levels. And you also, it's kind of like decaf, where it'll do a little something, but you're not really getting the most out of it. So ours is kind of middle of the road. We want to keep it as whole as possible, but we take out that THC. So it's going to work differently for different people. Those isolated compounds aren't as effective, and that's what you'll see a lot of times in your gummies. You'll see it a lot of times in your topical, where you might find a salve that's like 3,000 milligrams.
Right.
I would put my 500 milligram broad spectrum salve up against that any day, because a nice whole hemp extract is going to make all the difference.
Kim, I feel like we're in high school chemistry class right now, and I should be taking notes. There's going to be like,
I know.
Carrie's going to be like, okay, what was the milligrams? Flashbacks.
I'll just believe you that it works. I don't know the science behind it.
Kim's got the right idea. All right, Kim, what is today's subject? What are we going to be talking to Carrie about today?
Okay, so today we're talking about foundational health, and I'll be honest, I don't really even know what that is really. So, Kara, if you could explain what foundational health is.
Sure. Yeah. So we were really excited when this was proposed as a topic. Foundational health is so simple and makes so much sense that when I tell you it, you're going to be like, well, duh, why don't we always do that? Right.
Yeah, right.
So with our traditional medical system, this that we are all, we go to the doctor, we're dealing with all of these different things in our lives. What we're doing most of the time is addressing a symptom. I'm getting headaches. My stomach's not working the way it's supposed to be. So that traditional doctor, that allopathic doctor, which is what that refers to, they're going to, maybe they have a medication that can help with your digestion. Maybe they're going to throw some different things at trying to get your head to not hurt like it is. Whatever it is, they're only addressing that one piece of you. And it's understandable that happens because of the way we've set up our medical system, that these doctors don't have enough time to really spend the time to make sure that the foundation of our health is where it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. So foundational health just means building up that foundation from wherever you are. That's the important part. It's not breaking you down and building you up from the bottom. Wherever you're starting, you're just going to build a solid foundation of wellness. And for us, that's mental wellness, emotional wellness, as well as physical wellness. So just making sure that you have all those pieces in place as much as you can, so that whenever anything happens, whatever you're dealing with, you have a strong foundation to start with.
Okay.
That's really good.
Isn't it cool?
You're right. It is very simple. It's super simple.
Yeah.
So it's more like living a healthy lifestyle and focusing on like preventative care rather than just going to the doctor when you're sick and dealing with it that way.
Right. It's more of looking at a whole person and addressing things from that perspective, rather than going, okay, this is what's wrong with you. This is what we're going to fix. Because a lot of times in that kind of mindset, it's kind of like a mobile, right? And you have a symptom over here that is needing to be addressed. So you're addressing that, and maybe you do, but maybe you're whacking the whole rest of the mobile out of place.
Put you off balance.
Because you don't have a good foundation to begin with.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into it here, Carrie. How do we start on the path? What are some of the first steps we can take to get in on a good foundational healthy lifestyle? Where do we start?
It can sound really daunting when you talk about it like that. Everything I've said so far, it may sound kind of daunting, but the thing is the point is you start where you're at. So it may be that you're not well enough hydrated every day. So you need to make sure you're drinking more water. It's making sure that you're getting outside in the sunshine and getting some fresh air every day, going for a walk every day. There's all these little steps that we can take, and we could start right this minute. Like, okay, maybe today I haven't stretched at all, so I'm going to get up and stretch so that I'm giving myself that good foundation.
That's it. And we've got another familiar face joining us right now, Dr. Pamela Herring. How are you, Dr. Pamela?
I'm well, thank you. I'm sorry I'm late, but my browser was not accepting StreamYard.
So technical glitches, that's okay. We'd rather have you be late than not show up at all. We're glad to have you here, Doctor.
Thank you.
So Carrie just made a good point. You came in halfway through her thought.
Yes.
We're talking about good places to start to get into a nice foundational healthy lifestyle. What other steps can you add to what Carrie just said?
Well, I don't want to repeat anything that you already covered, but of course the one of the basic foundations is actually prenatally getting enough nutrition.
Okay.
So it really starts there with the mother's nutrition. And then, it's like building a house. You want a strong foundation, strong beams and good materials. So we want a healthy diet for that child as they're growing up. And that means, trying to avoid GMOs, in my opinion, would be a good start. And using whole foods, staying away from processed foods, basically, because there's lots of things in there that actually are counterproductive for good health. Whole foods would be whole grains, fruits and vegetables, meat, fish, eggs, those kinds of basic things. So that would be extremely important, along with avoiding toxins. If we can possibly have filtered water, eliminating some of the fluorides and chlorine and things like that in the water.
Yeah.
That would help. And I know Carrie made a good point about water and exercise and all of that. Those are critical as well. So
Everybody take a drink right now. Everybody take a drink. Just like Dr. Herring just said, everybody take
all
a
right,
drink.
well, I get my tea right now, but
We all need more hydration. That's what I used to say. Stay hydrated. You look flushed. She used to say all the time. This is all great advice. Kim, I know you had a couple of questions for.
Yeah. So for Dr. Herring, as a naturopathic doctor, do you see a lot of patients that are just used to being prescribed a pill for something rather than actually doing the work to heal themselves and fix the root cause of the problem?
I do. Our conventional approach, although is really important, the treatment plans tend to be about suppressing symptoms. And so people are looking for a more, root cause approach. And, people call and say, I can't even get to talk to my PCP. I haven't met my PCP yet because, they meet with somebody else in the office. So yes, they are looking for that connection. Number one, somebody who's listening and somebody who will take some time. Unfortunately, in our conventional approach, there's a clock running, and it's, that they often don't have enough time. Although I have to say, I had my annual meeting with my doctor, and I felt like he did take a lot of time, and I was really pleased to see that. But he is much more naturally oriented too. So, I think that's really a big question that people have. How do you approach this, and what kind of tools do you have? So one of them that I use a lot is homeopathy, which really looks at the whole person, mental, emotional, physical, looks at your family history and what runs in your family, to give you some clues about, what their strengths are and weaknesses. All of that we look at to determine the approach.
Nice.
Yeah.
Or looking at the whole person, right?
Exactly, Carrie. Yeah.
The whole being, both emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So it's really important that we look at ourselves as a whole being.
Right.
Makes sense. I mean, it's all connected.
Yeah.
Sure
Everything's
is.
connected. And what you said, Dr. Herring, too, about your family history, that makes a lot of sense as well. Because if
sure,
I mean, for example, my doctor recommended that I get put on a cholesterol medication, and I fought it, and I diet and exercise, and my numbers still didn't go down. But then we looked at my family history.
Right.
Yeah.
It's part of, where I come from. So I took the medicine, and guess what? My numbers went down. So,
it's like finding where your foundation needs extra help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. That's part of your foundation. It doesn't mean that you're going to have everything that is in your genetics. What you do is going to determine how you express those genes, however. So if you, drink a lot of alcohol, eat a lot of sugar, don't get enough sleep, and, on and on, smoking, you're going to probably express some of those genes that you may not want to express.
Yeah.
And if you follow a healthy regime, good foundational health, then you're more apt to avert some of those tendencies that run in your family. Now, familial hypercholesterolemia is a little different. I mean, that's, that needs to be addressed in a different way. So, but I mean, good, healthy habits will also help as well.
I did try, and the doctor was willing to listen to me, and she said that, all right, let's try diet and exercise, and let's see if anything works. And we did cut out a lot of sugar, and it really didn't do that much of a difference. And finally I was like, you know what? She knows best. She's got way more medical school than I can find on the internet.
Right.
She wins.
Yeah. You tried, though.
I did try.
Right.
I did try,
But oh, go ahead, Carrie.
I'm sorry, but don't discount all of these steps that you took where you're changing your diet, you're making your body feel more healthy, so that you're adding a medication to that good foundation, so your body has a better chance of using it better, more efficiently. And some of the side effects of that medication, the potential side effects, might not affect you as much because you have a good, strong foundation to build on.
That's right.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Very good point.
And I'm glad you mentioned earlier on the spiritual aspect too, because I think that mental health is a big part of our whole health picture.
Absolutely.
And positive thinking, and kindness. Just, if you read, if you've ever read the Japanese scientist Emoto, his last name is Emoto, who talks about how the way you think about the water in front of you in the glass will determine the crystallization that occurs in the water.
Interesting.
It's very interesting. It gives you, and if we're 90% or 97%, what percentage water are we?
75 or something?
70, I forget.
Yeah, some high percent.
Very high percentage. If you're thinking bad thoughts about another person, you could be changing their water crystals. So
we're all just energy beings, really. We
are energetic beings.
Yeah.
And exercise, by the way, your muscles are like battery packs for that energy.
Yes.
So when you exercise, that's why you feel good all over. You get a better night's sleep. You have a better mental outlook on life because those battery packs have recharged your cells.
Yeah, that was another part of my year-long trial. I exercised more, and before that, I was sleeping horribly. And basically what my doctor had said to me, the reason why you're not sleeping good at night is because you're not making yourself tired during the day. And I said, that's not true. I'm at work and I'm going and I'm doing things. And she goes, no. You need to, you need physical activity. You need to get your heart rate up. You need to get your cardio going. And she was correct. And there are days that sometimes I don't have time to work out. And then those are the nights that I don't have a good night's sleep.
Yeah, I noticed the same exact thing too. The days I work out, I fall asleep quicker.
Yes.
I stay asleep better.
Yeah, your body just feels it. So it's very true. And there is something to say about your body is a big giant battery. And you got to have a good foundational health for that battery. See the nice tie-in we did there? All right, we have a few minutes left. Carrie, please tell us a little bit about your products, your website, how we can find it. I'm sure it's available at the co-op.
It is.
Tell us a little bit about what you have and how we can get our hands on some of your products.
Sure. Thank you. So one of the ways that this ties into foundational health for us is what CBD does for us is it helps our endocannabinoid system create homeostasis in our body. That system is in charge of that homeostasis. And homeostasis just means our balance, our ability to bounce back when something happens, and our ability to kind of keep flowing the way we're supposed to. CBD helps to get that system to do its job. So at its core, it's just helping us with our balance. It's one of those pieces that we can put into our foundation, into our good habits that we're doing every day, in order to help keep that flow of information going the way it should. So we do some different things like our tinctures, which are CBD oil drops. So you take that internally and it helps wherever your body needs a little bit more balance. And then we also have a lot of topicals that help with your skin. So you're balancing right where you're putting it on your skin. So, if you had like a rash or, anything weird going on.
I don't mean to cut you off, Carrie. We're almost out of time.
Sure. Yep. Sorry. So you can get us at the co-op, though.
At the co-op. Dr. Herring, please, your website, how we can find out more about your practice.
My website, I always have to look. Dr. www.drpamelanh.com. You see where I have to look?
We'll find you, doctor. And the last 30 seconds, they're all for you, Kim. Take us home.
Okay. Well, I know it seems pretty early, but starting Monday, September 20th, you can pre-order your fresh, natural, local Thanksgiving turkeys at the co-op. And if you don't want to cook, you can also pre-order fully prepared Thanksgiving meals. You can pick it up and just preheat it at home. We have desserts too, and you can find out more information at www.concordfoodcoop.coop.
Very, very good. Carrie, thank you. Dr. Herring, thank you. Kim, as always, thank you. And we will see you next week on the Concord Co-op Community Connections.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
If you're in the mood for real food, it's Concord Food Co-op.